Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this session. I am Allie Bruce, content editor for Apparelist, and this session is presented by Equipment Zone. They're going to do a little bit of a press conference here, and then a nice panel discussion to discuss the impact of DTG and DTF technology of growing businesses. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Jay Bassell to the stage of Equipment Zone.
Welcome, everybody. Glad you're here. I'm going to be wandering around a little bit, so I hope that's not too uncomfortable for you if I suddenly hand you the mic. No. Just kidding. I kid. We're best friends now. Look at this panel. This is an amazing opportunity. I want the panel to wave over there to that camera and just say, hey, everybody. And then this camera as well, because this is kind of a big deal, too. First, what we're going to do is we're going to have just a short little infomercial / press conference. We want to hear a little bit from Tim Check at Epson, and then also from Terry Combs from Equipment Zone. We will be sharing the mic, so please feel free to share the mic. If your mic is not on, then hit that button one more time and it'll go off of mute. So the red button means it's on. So I'm just giving you a clue because it took me a while to figure that out. So I am lucky. I just want to say thanks again to this panelist, and I want to say thanks to everybody that's here and everybody in the back that's taking photos. That was pretty cool. But the opportunity to connect with these folks, both from the manufacturing side as well as from the actual ownership side, is kind of rare. So rather than Equipment Zone brag, and rather than Epson brag, we thought we would actually kind of get it from the ownership's perspective. How is this all impacting our business? How does this actually work? What are we going to do to grow our business? And if we're going to do something, is there anything we could learn together? So with having said that, I do want to jump right to it and give the first shot to our dear esteemed colleague, Tim Check. Tim's a big deal at Epson. He pretends to not be, but he really is. And we're lucky that he came over from the mothership, which was about, what, a 4-mile walk?
Working my lunch off. It's good.
Get those steps in. So Tim, could you share with us just what's going on, what's new? Give us a little press conference, 2-minute summary, 3-minute summary. We want to give you some time to brag about Epson, and then we're going to move over to Terry.
I'll tell you what, for anybody that I've talked to, you know that 2 or 3 minutes is probably not
That's
likely.
why I said 2 or 3 minutes.
So, but I will try my best here. So I'll tell you what, there's been a lot that has changed. I've been in imaging, digital imaging for close to 1997. I know it doesn't show, but I've been doing a lot of this stuff for quite some time. But since Epson's been really getting into the garment decorating space about more than a decade ago with the introduction of the F2000, a lot has changed. So we've continued to evolve new printers that go faster, new different ways of decorating, from doing DTG hybrid, DTG DTF film applications for doing transfers. Something that's really exciting today, we are able to show in our booth the first spot anywhere in the globe where we have Epson's first entry into a roll-to-roll DT film, and it's just the beginning. So we're excited about that. We're also keep on looking at what else can we do in here. So we're also looking at UV systems for, not necessarily just for the apparel, but for some of the accessories that does UV and UV transfers. So pretty much anything that's soft goods we can cover, and anything that's hard goods that we can cover. So there's a lot of things going on. Thank you for bumping the volume up. There's a lot of things that we have that are exciting that's going on. I'm sure we'll get into more of it, but we're excited today at least. And Jay, thank you for letting me go first to at least introduce this. Is we do have we are showing our first ever roll-to-roll DT film system, and I think the way how we're doing this, I think will change a lot of the way how to make it easier for companies to be able to produce, whether small one-person shops to large production shops, making it more efficient, more easier, and more consistent to deliver awesome quality prints. So I'm going to stop there because I think I hit my 2-minute limit. Thank you.
No, Tim, that was exciting news. Thank you for sharing that with us. We're so excited to see this printer. All the printers that you bring are fantastic, but we have our favorite. Kids, they all shine bright, but a few times a year they shine a little brighter. This is one of those moments. If you haven't seen their new printer in the Epson booth, please go by and see it. It's a big deal. So thank you, Tim, for being here. Terry Combs is here, industry icon and legend. Terry, we're grateful for you and all that you've given to the industry. I'm not kidding. I know usually I joke, but I just wanted to give you some straight up love. Thank you.
Well, I thank you, Jay. And you got lunch? What? Everything that you'll see in the Epson booth, Equipment Zone sells. Equipment Zone is Epson's largest reseller in the world of DTG printers. So we have a very close relationship with them and all the folks at Epson. Just real quickly, also in our booth, we have, of course, all the Epson equipment. We have introduced an DTF UV printer, 24 inches wide, that you can go and see in our booth. And one more thing, a DTF printer, 5 print heads that prints 300 square feet per hour, and it's running all day long. So be sure to go by the Equipment Zone booth and take a look at that.
Awesome. Thank you, Terry. We appreciate that. But we also have 4 esteemed colleagues. Some very important people have joined us. I'm going to give them a quick little intro, and then we're going to get into some questions. I hope that we have a few minutes at the end of this. If there are some live questions, we'll try to take them. But for now, I kind of have 6 or 7 questions to start with. And I do want to introduce, first of all, Kim Johnson, owner of Paisley Joe Designs. Everybody say hi to Kim. Hi, Kim. Hi, Kim. Woo! And sitting next to her is Keith Burwell, owner of Precision One Concepts. There's Keith. Keith. And then sitting next to Keith, we have Megan Urban, owner of Identities. There's Megan right there. Yeah. And then listen, this guy, I don't even know if I need an introduction. Listen to this. He is Creative Ginger, Dan Short, the owner of Short Designs. Give it up for Dan. He happens to be a San Francisco 49ers fan, and I can't change that. But if you haven't seen the shirt he's wearing, you know he is a digital direct-to-garment crazy printer man that I love. So thank you, Dan. Thank you, Keith, Megan, Kim, for being here. You are the stars of the show for sure. So let's do a little quick, how long have you been in the industry type of question. So let's start there. Let's start with you, Kim, if that's cool. How long have you been in the industry? How long have you owned your own business?
I have, oh goodness, I feel like I'm screaming at you guys. Sorry. I actually started in 2015, I believe. I was a funeral director for 22 years, got out, and just happened to fall in this, I guess you want to say trap. I never got out because I just fell in love. But I'm originally from Oklahoma, so that's where you get the little southern accent. I do live in Phoenix, moved there like 2 years ago, and that's kind of it. My shop is actually in my home, so Paisley Joe Designs is actually based out of my house. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. And Keith, same?
My first screen printing business was in 1991. Had it for about 2 years. Didn't know how to run a business and just closed it down.
We don't talk about that anymore, yeah. Keith, right here.
My current business is actually 23 years old. And yeah, it was started as a family business, but I'm the only family member left. My dad retired and my sister retired and moved out of state. So.
And you're in California?
Yes, Northern California.
Okay, great. Keith, that's 21 years now, continually in business?
23.
Congratulations, that's a big deal. All right, sitting next to Keith, we have the one and only Megan Urban. We tease her that she's Keith's little sister. Owner of Identities. Tell us a little bit about you. What's the story? What's the backstory? Years in business?
We started our business in 2007. Started just as a manual screen printing shop and have quickly grown into DTG DTF and kind of going from there.
Wow. Awesome. Okay, slide it over to Dan, Creative Director, Creative Ginger, Dan Short Designs.
It's kind of hard. I've been doing decorating and such for about 10 years, but my main love is graphics. I've been doing that for 20 plus years, from commercial print to digital print, to lasers, sublimation, you name it.
Awesome.
I've done it.
How many years though, if you had said owner of a business?
10-ish, I would say, right around there.
Okay.
I mean, my graphics I've been done for a while, but that's all digital.
I have a unique seat in the house that I've become friends with each of these folks. So you correct me if I'm wrong. Kim, you came from the funeral directors type business, and now you're here. Is that true?
That is correct.
Keith, you came from the sign business really as an old-timey screen printer, but you kind of had a sign business. Is that right?
So my sign business technically is 23 years old, and the screen printing business is 17.
Gotcha.
It was two separate companies until last year I combined them into one. So
Okay.
you could technically, between the two, there's 40 years of experience.
I love that. Okay, Megan, you came from a full-time active mom, softball coach, and that's how you got into this business?
I was also a recreation director, kind of dealing with ordering the T-shirts at that time.
Okay, and Dan, we know because you said you're a graphic designer, you started printing because you wanted to. How did you make the leap from graphics to apparel or some?
I did a lot of the HTV back in the day. I've done sublimation, but wanted an option for darker shirts, more where I could take my design and art and put it on a shirt without limitation, for the most part.
Gotcha. I'm going to stick with you now, Dan. Let's talk about growth. That's the purpose of us having this conversation and me moderating it. I want to talk about business growth specifically, and I want to think about, put yourself in your minds, go back a few years, post-pandemic, we're coming out of lockdowns, we're coming out of the pandemic, tough times behind us, better times ahead. What have you done to help your business grow since the end of the pandemic? And any answer is the yes, right answer.
You know, I think a lot of that for me, and it's kind of a sideways answer to what you're saying, is service. Service is everything. Network with people. But as far as, there's a lot of people out there printing t-shirts, and you just have to set yourself apart from everybody else. So a lot of that too is just coming out of that. You have people re-entering the world, and as we know it, you know, you just have to make those connections and just talk with people and give great service.
Love it. I'm going to slide it over to Terry. Terry, I still want you to think about that question from our clients' perspectives. Anything you can add, things that you may have heard. We talk to clients every day. You talk to clients all the time. What are they doing post-pandemic to help grow their business?
Well, the advice I always give to people, and Jay, you know, I teach screen printing classes. I've done that for 20 years. I have a 12-year podcast, the number 2, regularguys.com. And anybody that's been to those, or anybody who's heard my podcast, the advice is always the same. Do good work, deliver on time. Do good work, deliver on time. And I always tell people that because 90% of your competition doesn't do one or both of those things. So it's just a fact. Do good work and deliver on time, and your business will grow. It's been the same for as long as I've been in business. And I was a decorator for many, many years before I was involved in selling equipment.
Excellent answer. Okay, Megan, no pressure. Something, a tip, an idea, a strategy, whether you fell into it, whether you planned it, anything that you could help our audience and the viewers understand. Post-pandemic, what are you doing to grow your business?
We actually grew quite a bit during COVID, just from we were doing a lot of fundraising for local businesses, stuff like that. So as we did that, we ended up landing a lot of those businesses, customers coming out of pandemic, and then as well as online stores. It's kind of our go-to for schools and stuff like that. We do a lot of that, and it kind of helps, you know, they can go on there, purchase their products, and it's really helped our business.
Excellent answer. Keith, same question.
For us, it was a little bit different. We had a rough time at the beginning. I mean, we were like Megan, we were doing the community stuff, and that worked. But we had our auto. We had to end up selling during COVID, and so coming out, you know, we were pivoting to a lot of different things, laser, sublimation. We'd already been doing some of that, but we started doing a lot more of that. And we had 7 people before COVID, then we were down to 3. We still only have 3 today, and we're doing more work than when we had 7.
Wow.
Without an auto, but with the DTF.
We could unpack that, but I don't know that we have the time. But that's really interesting. Keith, thanks for sharing that insight. Kim, what about you? Same question. Growth.
I have to agree with what they all said. Customer service. Obviously, I came from a customer service industry with the funeral business, and I'm just a real big, and I offer that one-on-one. I do not have a virtual assistant or anything like that. I actually talk to my customer and get to know them personally and just see really what their needs are. I do email, but they all have my cell phone, and I'll just pick up the phone and have a conversation, and really just that one-on-one, and keep your relationship ongoing at all times. And I think one of the biggest things, and having a business, don't forget about that one person down the street that just needs that one birthday shirt. That one birthday shirt has led me to some of my biggest accounts. And that's huge, guys. A lot of the bigger shops don't want to mess with that one $20 t-shirt, but you don't know what that person's connected to. And that's probably my biggest advice as a small business owner. And again, I'm out of my house. It is easy for me to stay up till midnight to work on that one shirt, but I've just always kind of kept that in the back of my mind. You don't know their background or what their connections are.
Great advice. Love that story. Okay, to Tim. Tim, I want to ask you from the perspective of Epson, in terms of business growth, is this a topic that's on the minds of Epson as you guys are planning into the future? And I know you think forward 3 to 5 years. Is business growth for these panelists on your mind? Is it in the meetings? Is it in a discussion? Tell us what that looks like from Epson's perspective, business growth.
Okay, well, first off, they're pretty clear yes, but if you want to say where that lands, first off, yes, absolutely. It's the first thing in mind. Kind of listening to what everybody just said about what they've done and how they've been successful. Our biggest spot where we like to hear is from customers, from people, from you who are using the equipment. How can we make it so that you can flex and be able to do something different? How do you be agile to help that one customer who wants that one birthday shirt or wants to be able to have a special memorable coaster or a picture? We're always looking at how can we come up with better systems, whether it's a printer or a software or a system that helps you be able to satisfy your customers better. At the end of the day, our goals really are make this place a better place for us all. That's what we want to go to. The way we do that is we hear that feedback directly from you. It takes us time, the manufacturer. It takes time to incorporate that into a new product design. But I will tell you, almost everything we are showing in our booth is based on 100% on customer feedback. How do we make this a better printer? We're not the first to, for example, the DTF products, we're not the first to come to this game, but we've heard from many customers, how could we make this better? And that's really what we're trying to do, to make it where you can spend more time servicing your customers, building those relationships, not wrenching on a printer. We take care of that business so you guys can focus on truly doing what matters most, helping and pleasing customers and making this place better for everybody.
Wow, well said. Love that answer. Thank you, Tim. That was great. Let's slide it back to Terry. Kind of the same thing from the perspective of, technology, from the perspective of being, a service provider. We are exhibiting here. We're at the show. We sell printers. So, is this something that we talk about at Equipment Zone? Is that something new technology or some sort of delivery or some sort of development that we are helpful in bringing to the market?
Right. We talk to customers every day, and we have those conversations about what the customer's needs are, and we, for instance, DTF printers that we have because Epson didn't have one yet, and we, the customers yet the time's at hand, but yeah, the customers were saying to us, we're interested in that technology as well, so we went out and sourced the best equipment we could find and all the proper supplies and things like that. But yes, I personally talk to customers all day long, every day about their needs. And, probably the biggest thing that we do is someone calls up and says, hey, I want to do DTF. Our first response isn't, okay, that's $13,995. It's, what do you want to accomplish with a DTG printer or DTF printer? And let's talk about your business a little bit. And maybe this is good for you. Maybe it's not exactly the technology you need. Maybe this is the technology you need. So we do a lot of communicating before there's ever any money exchanged.
I love that about you. I always have. You've always been put the customer's needs first. Neither Epson, as much as we try, neither Epson or Equipment Zone is perfect. We don't pretend to be. However, listening to you is the key that unlocks a lot of doors for us. So thank you for that feedback. I'd like to know, is Kim like 50% of your calls for all of the updates of what you're going to do different at Epson? No, kidding. Don't answer that. And same, I was thinking, Megan, how often are you talking to Terry to say, hey, what about this? What about that? It's true though, right? You guys, we do hear from you, and we encourage that. We love that at Equipment Zone. But I do want to ask, before we go forward, let's talk a little bit more specific. What equipment do you actually own? What machines? Let's start with Dan. Dan, what do you actually own? What's the brand? What's the style? What do you own? What do you do?
I've got an Epson F2100. Absolutely love it. I've got the speed treater from Equipment Zone. A couple of heat presses.
You forgot to say absolutely love it after this.
I do. Yeah, I do. And a couple of heat presses, hopefully expanding here shortly. But yeah.
Any other toys? Any other things that you're experimenting with?
I mean, I've got a laser. I've got an Epson F570. Got all kinds of toys. But realistically, most of them don't get used as much as my 2100.
Okay, so I was just going to ask you that. Is that your primary go-to, 2100?
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly what I'm doing now. Part of that is I'm a one-man show. So as much as I try to keep everything running at once, I always forget about something. And
Let me ask you a follow-up to that. In terms of production, would you be in 100 a week, 500 a week in terms of output of units? Where would you land on a typical week?
I mean, I think it depends upon the
varies,
week and the
but
season, but I'd say somewhere about 100 a week.
Okay, I was just for context, it helped.
Yeah, right around there.
Let's go to Megan. Megan, same questions. What are some of the toys that you own? And when I say toys, I mean equipment, obviously machines.
We have 3 of the F2100s. We have one EasyJet 24-inch DTF printer. And we as well have laser, UV printer, and sign printer. And we had a automatic screen printing press, but we recently just sold that. We're going strictly DTF full time.
Strictly digital. So you were a screen printer. You invested a lot of time and technology into a very fine press. I know which one. I won't name it. And you are now no longer the owner of that press.
That's correct.
So in terms of output, I know it's hard, but if Dan was saying maybe 100, a couple hundred a week, what would your output look like for the week?
We're probably doing close to 2,000 pieces a week.
2,000 pieces a week. Awesome. Okay, Mr. Burwell. Keith, same questions. What do you own? What are your toys? What's on the list?
So we have a manual screen printing press. We still screen print. We have a 6-head embroidery machine. We have an F2100 as well. We have an EasyJet Pro 24, and we have laser, lots of sign equipment. Sorry, not an Epson printer, but a Roland printer, and it's printed more vinyl than it was ever supposed to, probably. Yeah, and as far as production, we're probably 1,500 to 2,000 a week.
Okay.
And yeah, it's going well, and we're doing that with 3 people. So
outstanding. And so for both of you who mentioned, you said the EasyJet Pro 24-inch. That's a dedicated DTF printer from Equipment Zone, just in case anybody was curious. See a lot of people taking notes and writing this down. Kim, you're next. What do you own? What's
obviously, I started with HTV, so I do have the Graphtec CE7000. And we still do a lot of vinyl because those cheer moms and those dance moms, they want glitter.
Bring on the bling, baby.
They do not want that just looks like glitter. They want bling. So we still do a lot of glitter. So we still utilize a lot of HTV, and plus we still do a lot of rhinestones. So I do a lot of rhinestone templates. But also, I'm just kind of going around my shop. I don't know how you can do it, Epson's beta tester for the 2270 DTG DTF hybrid printer. Absolutely amazing. It's my baby. And I also have the, I guess it'd be SureColor F1070, the baby sister to the 2270, which is so fun, and she's just adorable. She's just a lot of fun to run. I kind of have the whole shop, the corner of my shop is all Epson. I have the 1070, the 2270, and then I have the F570. So yes, I am obviously 100% Epson. And also I have my accessories, because I think you gotta have a little bit of luxury into the printing. So I do, and I see Darren Livingston sitting here. He just created the DTF Platen, which is
a vacuum platen?
A vacuum platen. So us that do have, obviously I'm in Phoenix, so I don't have a lot of moisture issues, but those who do, if you warm up your film and that film curls, guys, it's a game changer. You don't no more taping or anything to that platen. You turn on this, put this platen down, turn it on, and it has a vacuum to suck that film down, and no movement. It just holds your film down, so no more tape.
It kind of feels like you're going to get a special dinner now.
You guys, and I'm not just saying it because he's sitting here. I would actually just tell you it's a luxury.
But it's worth it.
the little bells and whistles that helps us as production. Another hands down, Vastex created it this year, the powder shaker. I know equipment has it, the easy powder shaker.
Right.
I'm not sure
Yep.
really the term. Another hands down luxury item, but no more putting your hand in the powder and the bucket. I call it the redneck way because I'm from Oklahoma and we can say those words, redneck. But you put your film in there. We actually have one over here in the apparel zone. I'm actually in there running the printers, and I can be glad to show you. It's been a huge plus to speed up production. It's me and I have another employee, but it just helps us make stuff more accurate and just faster as we are trying to get those production because it is just us. I think that's it. I do have a speed treater from
Equipment
you guys
Zone.
from Equipment Zone.
Yeah. How did you forget that?
I know exactly. I am a big on pre-treating my own shirts because I have that control. When you do get pre-treated shirts from other companies, there are some out there that are better than others. But if you do it yourself, you have more consistency, and just you have that control.
I thought it was interesting. All 4 of the heads, the business owners, all went like this when you said control.
It's the truth. I'm here actually representing Epson because you can't beat their customer service and their support and their team. It's been a pleasure doing the beta testing for the 2270. So I have had that printer for a year and a half, little more than that. It's definitely taken my business to the next level and allowed me to have that control that I did not have when I was outsourcing my jobs. And when you get that job in and it's not, those colors aren't right or the sizing's not right, it's pretty discouraging. Have to call that customer, I've got to have your stuff reprinted. Well, now I have that control within my shop.
Love that. I'm going to start back down here with Dan. I want to talk about service after the sale, and this is going to be for everybody, including Terry and Tim. Service after the sale.
I think it's huge. I think that was one of my main selling points that brought me to Equipment Zone. I over-research everything, sometimes to a fault, and that's one thing that I kept seeing is the service after the sale and the training as far as Equipment Zone is concerned. I just got lucky that, the Arizona office is in my backyard, so instead of, doing a call or anything like that, I just showed up. And the training that comes with that, and even now I had my speed treater, my pump was going out, or I thought it was going out, and it wasn't. Quick 5-minute phone call. Okay, good. We're back up and running again, and now I learned something new that, I can help others with if they have questions and stuff like that. But I'm going on 4 years now, maybe a little longer, and still, if I have questions, you can email a tech support ticket or anything like that, and still getting service to this day, even though I spent my money 4 years ago.
Thank you for that. That was more than kind. I owe you tacos later. Dan is not kidding. He does just drop by often, and we're lucky that he does. We appreciate that. He usually does bring goodies, so thank you, Dan. But I love what you said, and I'm not going to hide from it. Being able to still get that level of service 4 years later. I know I saw a lot of heads in the audience shaking their heads. That's awesome.
Well, and I see so many people, I'm a big social media guy, I see so many people that get these printers and they're not trained, or they're kind of trained. And a lot of that stuff that I take for granted that I'm like, how do you not know that? They don't get the training on it.
They didn't buy it from who?
Equipment Zone.
Oh, we shouldn't make this a total commercial for
Right.
us.
But it's remarkable that there's a company out there that still 4 years later, I haven't bought anything in 4 years, and I'm still getting support. I'm still getting questions answered, and it's fantastic.
Terry, how important? Service after the sale. We talk about it a lot.
Well, it is important because Equipment Zone's built on that. I don't want to make a commercial, but we do train one-on-one when you buy equipment from us, mostly via Zoom. It's a day of training. Our techs will not hang up with you until you're getting good prints. Then Equipment Zone offers lifetime support for as long as you own the equipment. And we get people 5 years ago that say, hey, I bought this, I have a question about that, how to do this. And let me also add, on the Epson 2270, we have trainings every week that people pay for because they bought their equipment elsewhere and never got training, and so they pay us to do the same training that all these guys got when they bought their equipment. So, but I'll let it end there.
Nice. Okay, Megan, I know it's a big deal. Without the Equipment Zone commercial, I just want to get kind of the feedback. How important is it? How high on the list is it when you're out shopping for new toys? Service, follow up. You know, something's going to happen. It's a printer. It's a digital printer, for heaven's sakes. You know something is eventually going to happen. Is it a big deal to you?
Yeah, it's a very big deal. I learned my lesson the hard way. My very first DTG printer I bought overseas. It came to my door, and I think it worked for maybe a week, and it became a brick in our shop. We ended up just throwing it away. So I was really hesitant on even buying another one. And I met Terry and Jay, and I thought, okay, I'm going to give it a try. And we haven't had any issues that they haven't been able to resolve. And being able to call them or text them anytime, and they make sure it's fixed and up and running for us.
Awesome. Keith, what about you?
So yeah, I agree with what everybody said. I think one of the biggest things when you're researching is finding out what techs are available. Maybe not so much with the company, but if you had to have a tech come, because anybody knows, if it's not under warranty, it's $1,500 on average just to have somebody show up just to look at it, and then they have to fix it. But so I've always done that with all my equipment, whether it was my embroidery machine or my automatic press. I wanted to make sure and stuff. So knowing Jay and Terry for a few years and stuff, and I bought my F2100, and then before I bought the EasyJet Pro, it was like, Terry goes, well, I'll send you some sample. I go, no, I trusted him because of our relationship. I knew it was going to be a good printer. And like Megan said, I really haven't had any issues, but anything I have had, it's just call it up, and I've had it fixed within 5 minutes, just over the phone. So.
Outstanding. We're lucky. We're not perfect. No, I'm kidding. Kim, we know how you feel, but go ahead.
Honestly, that's one thing that I've always liked about Epson, and that's prior to me even being their beta tester, is their customer support. When you buy a printer and print head goes bad, whatever, you put a support ticket in, they have someone at your location within 24 or 48 hours. And you just can't get that, especially when you're messing with the print heads, which I know that I have a lot of those guys in my back pocket on my phone, being a beta tester. But I'm on these forums and I look, and just the support, which is huge on these printers. They're not cheap. If they're not running, we're not making money. So that's just huge. And so within 24 or 48 hours, their support is there and helping you get that printer going. And again, coming back from the service industry, I'm just big on the customer support. And that's another reason, Equipment Zone, they do offer training. And not just, if you didn't buy your printer from them, you need help, they're there to help you. And that I will, they're my good friends, but that's another reason that I'm here helping them, because they do give back to a lot of us within the industry with help.
Thank you very much. Okay, Tim, it's time to brag a little bit, toot your own horn. Tell us a little bit about things that are unique and special, maybe as a warranty service or as a service agreement that's extendable. What are some of the things that Epson does with a lot of planning to help our customer base succeed?
Again, a lot of it comes back to how do people use the equipment. We talk with customers. We understand what works well, what doesn't work, whether it's Epson brand or not. What we try to put into products is making these where the printers can do more automation, more things in there so you don't have to. From our F2000 to the F2100, we put features in there that would automate the cleaning of the at the end of the shift. It would flush out and take care of all the ink buildup, anything else that was there, so you don't have to. It was always done accurately because not everybody always took the time out of their day to go and do that on the prior gens printers. We listen to that. We put features in there like that, but we also look at, it's not just hardware. We know that people are in here, and so things that we're doing is we're adding in features like a cloud connection. So those printers can report online. You can see what's happening on your activity, but it also makes it where if a service problem happens, our service team, instead of trying to describe it over the phone to someone, you can just give them the serial number. They can look up the history and see, yeah, there's a pump cap failure or some other type of issue. So when we have one of our local techs come out to fix it, they have the parts right on the spot, right in the beginning, that are not coming out to diagnose it and then waiting for parts to come out 2 days later. They're there, they can fix it at the same time. 90% of the time, it's usually settings or something that they can resolve over a phone. But my last part to that is I know a big part to it is, at the end of the day, we partner with we have a number of dealers but there is only number one dealer that we have. There's only a spot for a first dealer, and that is where Equipment Zone is. They are a top tier dealer, not because they just sell a lot of stuff, but because they stand behind it and make sure customers really are, this is the right product and make it work. So we try to keep putting more features in there. I know I'm not probably answering directly your question, but we are putting more features and technologies in there where the printers can self-maintain themselves. Things in there, the print heads are aware if it can fire ink out or if there's lint fibers blocking it. It can detect that and compensate for it. So you don't have to sit there and go, I got streaks on a printer, I got to throw away another t-shirt and do this. It will make it so that that print quality can be maintained. We try to put features in there based on your feedback of how much pain is it when a bad print goes out to a customer. It is like the most expensive and painful experience. It's one thing if you can catch it in the shop, it's another thing when it goes to an end customer. And if we can prevent that by any ways using technology, we try to do that. So again, you can keep building a relationship with a customer, not trying to do damage control.
I love what you said. I have to emphasize it. The fact that Epson actually even knows about this, cares about this, works on this issue is epic. They understand that if you deliver a garment that washes out or is misprinted, they know that eventually they're part of that team. And I just want you guys to understand that. That's, everybody here, it's going to sound like a kumbaya love fest for Equipment Zone and Epson. That's really not what we had planned, but it seems like it's coming out. So we're going to roll with it. I want to go back to Dan. I want to talk about secret sauce. Dan, this is different from the cliches. Please don't just say customer service. Let's dig a little deeper, my ginger friend. What are some of the magic moments that you have created? Something special, special ingredient, special technique, something that you do that's really truly about growing your business. Is there a marketing thing? Is there a, what would you be willing to share with your 50 newest best friends?
I think for me, it's you never stop learning. There's still things today that I learn as far as, techniques. Yes, it's all done. You put the pre-treat on, you send a file, you press the print button. But it doesn't always work like that. There was a story about a donut shop, and I think Joe, you might have heard this one. I got a file in one time, and I can pretty much print anything. And know what my quality is going to be, and I'm super OCD with that stuff. Got a file in that I looked at this file and knew this is not going to print. And it was half vector, half raster, but it was a blue and yellow design, like a navy blue-ish shirt with almost like a royal blue on it. And I tell you what, that was
a lot of fun.
Good.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I got there, but it's one of those things that, normally you pre-treat it, you print, and you go. This wasn't that case. There was a lot of work that went into adjusting the graphics, then getting the print right and everything like that. It's being able to see stuff like that, being able to adapt to it, and just making sure everything aligns. I see a lot of press out there, or not necessarily press, but social media that, the printer can't do this and the printer can't do that, and the printer will do whatever you tell it to do, as long as good garment, good shirt, good pre-treat, good graphics, press print.
Yeah,
it'll produce.
I love what you said. I'm going to build on it, emphasize it. Dan is the kind of person that's going to go the extra mile to fix somebody's file. He's not just going to say, "Oh, you gave me crap, garbage in, garbage out. Too bad." So sad.
Well, and I think that kind of brings to light, you're talking about the secret sauce too. I mean, having the background in graphics, exactly that. It's not something that I charge for. I mean, obviously, if it gets really elaborate, I will. But if I can spend 10 or 15 minutes, tweak the file, adjust it, change the levels, whatever I need to do for them to get a better print, that's where you're going to gain more of your market share versus the 10 other people within 10 miles of print t-shirts.
And how happy and how grateful were the donut shop owners?
Well, they ordered more, a whole lot more.
And did they deliver you donuts? That's what we all want to know.
No, I delivered the shirts, so I got donuts while I was there.
Hot shirts for hot donuts.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think a lot of that too is just, be ever evolving, and go the extra mile with that.
Terry, we want to hear from you, Terry. You got some secret sauce. What's the secret?
Well, I guess one thing is I talked to so many people, and I came from a production background, so you know, when people are talking about having this kind of issue on production floor, dealing with employees, I can kind of come back and say, well, here's some ideas about what I've done on my production floor. And you know, I went from one person to 75 production floor employees. So if anybody wants to hear every excuse for not coming to work, I have heard it. So, but the other thing that I do is I talk to so many people about their businesses, and not just, hey, do you want to buy something, but tell me about your business, that I can share with them, with other people. You know, I want to do some print on demand, and I can give them some ideas about, well, here's what so and so's doing, or here's what this person's doing, or here's a unique idea that I heard recently, and I know people take that information and they go out and try it themselves, and so, hey, we're all in this together, and you know, your success is my success, and my success is your success. So I like to help everybody.
Love it. Megan, secret sauce. Don't be the quiet ninja on us. You got to give up some juice here. Come on, girl. Let's talk about it. What's something special that you do that's unique, rare? And I have something in my mind, so if you don't bring it up, I will.
Okay, so I think what he's probably referring to is our online stores.
Yes, I am. How did you know? Online stores.
So we do a lot of online stores for the local high schools, and in their fundraising stores or spirit stores, we'll have maybe 20, 25 designs on there for them to choose from.
Was it always that way? Did you always have 20 to 25
so when we were
designs?
screen printing, we maybe offered 2 to 3, but now we'll put 25 on there, and you know they're going to buy most likely more than one design, multiple items. So
And what was the reason that you weren't doing that before?
just it's too much work.
Too much work. Screen printing. Too much
Yeah,
work.
Definitely.
Okay. And so your sales not only went up, but people were buying.
Yeah, they're buying multiple items now across maybe 2 of each item, 3 or 4 designs.
Love it. Fabulous. Secret sauce, online stores. Offer more color, more styles, more designs. Thank you. That was excellent. Keith, secret sauce, something special.
I'm going to go a little different route. I agree that knowledge was key. So I think the trade shows are huge. If you guys go to Long Beach for the apparel show. And,
You mean Vegas for Printing United Expo? Is that what you meant to say?
That one as well. But
Okay.
I'm just saying, I've been to this one for the sign industry mostly and stuff. But it's the networking that you get to do there and stuff, because I met you guys 5 years ago at a different type of conference, and I met Megan at that same conference, I think. And I always call it my second family. I have a core group of people in the industry that, you know, we meet with a couple times a week, and you know, we can bounce everything off this. That's my secret sauce. I always say surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. Yeah, that call. Yeah, I have some amazing friends on that call.
Keith, what do you think I did here today? Hello.
So it's don't be afraid to talk. I mean, I would say the first 18 years of my business, I would go to the trade shows and I would just gawk and look and do whatever, maybe buy equipment or whatever. But the last 5 years, I meet with people. I'm not afraid to walk up to a booth that if I see something going on and ask them, how are you guys doing that? Where before I was always just shy, would never say anything about that. And I think that's really key. You'd be amazed at the education you can get just walking the floor, and don't be afraid to ask a question. Because if you don't know the answer, they're going to give it to you. You'll have some guys that might be jerks about it, but 90% of the people are going to be really good about it. So
That would never happen in the Epson booth. I just
it
want
would
you to
not
know.
happen in your booth at all.
Or in
So-
ours. I love what you said, relationships, and I love the fact that you have masterminds and people that you've connected with at shows just like Printing United Expo, and that you maintain those relationships, and then you guys compare notes. Brilliant. Kimberly,
Wow.
I've been wanting to say
Jay.
that all day.
Wow. Well, I know. I have to say, and if you come by the booth, you'll hear me tell you this. Quality over quantity. Guys, it's a huge game changer. Don't try to cut corners. Give them the product that they pay for. I'm not the cheapest in town. And if they want something cheap, I'm not their girl, but I'm not going to cut corners. You know, just for instance, I do have the 2270. I lay my CMYK down. I allow drying time, 45 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever it might be. But I take that shirt off. I lay it over. I have a big 10-foot by 5-foot island within my shop. I lay it over the side, 5-10 minutes, and I go on to print on the next shirt.
maybe another shirt, and then I go back and throw it under the press and just barely just touch it, just get enough contact for my 90-second cure time, and I have everyone's like, how do you get vibrant colors? It's easy. Just don't take it off that printer, go throw it under the press with high pressure, and I always just remember that quality over quantity, and my customers keep coming back.
Great. Tim, any secret sauce, any wisdom, any insights? I know you've been here a while. Share with us, please.
Hey, don't be afraid to try something new. I mean, I think in the last couple of years, everybody has pivoted for a little bit. The world's changed, and sometimes it's kind of neat. I'm glad that with digital, it makes it very easy to pivot, and it's been a big helpful for a lot of customers. But also, don't be afraid to try something new. T-shirts are great. We love T-shirts. I'm wearing a T-shirt underneath this. But there's also a lot of things that go with a T-shirt. Like you might throw a hat in here, or some shoes, or some other shoes or items that are in there that maybe that's not in your regular item or things that you normally produce. But taking a little chance, next thing you know, that may be the next big thing. And you may also flop, and that may not work. But try a little bit, and that's one of the things that we try to do is when we're listening to customers and what works, doesn't work, we give that feedback to our engineers. We try it. Doesn't always work out. It doesn't make it to a finished product, but we like to try it because, hey, it could be the next thing. And next thing you know, that may be a way that all of a sudden you have, we found, Darren, I'm looking at you, from the vacuum platen to the hat platens. We realized there's as much money in a hat, there's more profit in a hat than there is in a T-shirt. If you can sell a hat and a T-shirt together, something you might never have thought of doing, it's just an extra way that same customer may be really happy with what you can deliver. You got a whole match set, and it's a great way to kind of grow your business without having to spend a lot of time hunting down new customers, building better relationships with those customers. So not a technology spot, but just really don't be afraid to try and listen to what people are doing and what they're asking for and pivot.
Love it. Don't be afraid. I love it. Let's go back to Dan. We're kind of rounding third. We're not quite on our way to home, but we're there. It's 45 minutes after the hour. It's wish list time, ladies and gentlemen. Wish list. Dan, what's one thing you wish you knew now, but you wish you knew it from years ago? What's something that if you could fast forward, you wish you would have known then?
Well, I've got two on that one. When your wife approves the purchase because she can get free shirts, I'm still printing free shirts. It's bad.
Hey there, careful. She's in the audience.
Yeah, I know. And the other thing that I wish I would have adopted a little bit earlier is that DTG and DTF can coexist. And the reason I say that is I'm a DTG snob. I am a huge, that DTG, it's just, it's a better hand feel, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. But man, I tell you what, once you actually, the DTF has come a long way, but once you get the process down for smaller things like sleeves or left chest, I printed all my left chest for years and years and years because I didn't adopt DTF early enough. And now that's a game changer. Little logo, there's different uses for each, but putting them together, production time, productivity, everything, it's fantastic.
Love that. Excellent answer. Okay, we're going to slide by Terry if that's okay. Megan, let's talk about it. What's one thing you know now you wish you knew years ago?
I would say in the beginning we tried to do everything, laser, UV, sign printing, and right now we're trying to kind of maybe narrow ourselves down, find us a niche, and it's a lot easier now that we're just strictly focusing on DTF and not trying to do everything and be good at one thing.
So you took Tim's advice and you said, let's experiment, but you went a little too far maybe. Now you're bringing the pendulum swing.
Yeah, now we're trying to scale back just a little bit on the products that we do offer.
But think of the lessons that you learned through that and the experiences you've gained too. I know sometimes it comes at a cost, but you're probably a better business owner now. Would you agree?
Yes, and a lot more free time.
Amen, sister. All right, Keith, give us the same answer. Something you know now you wish you knew earlier.
A lot of what Megan just said. Obviously, I've had the sign business and stuff, and we had 7 employees, and now we're down, and my 2 sign people that I had before I don't have. So the sign business, I'm not out putting channel letters on the side of a building anymore because I don't have the time. I'm trying to make my business grow and trying to do that. So I think having quality people, we couldn't control COVID. I lost 2 really good employees, but they had to do what they had to do at the time.
Right.
for them, and and trying to find somebody back. So I think the biggest thing for me now that I know is not really. I don't think I'm prepared for another COVID. I don't think any of us are, but I am more prepared for that rainy day. I think after that, and I think that's what I will always be ready for.
No, that's great wisdom. All right, Kim.
I would have to say probably education. One thing I wish I would have done, 9 years ago going into this, obviously having a different background, I was scared to ask. I was just scared to network. When I go to these shows, I would get overwhelmed. Just didn't really know which way to go, and I was scared to just open up that conversation because I felt like I didn't know anything. Well, I guarantee you're not the only one that has those questions. And if you find those people, they're going to reach out and help you. I've obviously been blessed with some of the best, but I didn't always have this team behind me. And, just for instance, when I got my printer, year and a half ago, I was very new to DTG, and Dan Short, met him on a forum, and he's actually one of my really good friends in Phoenix now, and just reaching out, and don't be afraid to ask. And that's probably my biggest thing, because I was very scared when I first entered, obviously being very successful in the funeral business and learning something new. I was intimidated, but I wanted to learn, and trade shows are the best way. Impressions Expo and Print United, go to the education. And even if you can catch one thing in that education that you can implement in your shop, you've already gained.
Well said. All right, let's stick to you, Kim, work the other way, and then we want to give it some time. We have about 10 minutes. I hope I get a couple of questions that you can ask our panel. I want Terry and Tim to listen to these answers because it's going to come back to them. This is part B of the wish list. What's one feature, Kim, you wish Epson or Equipment Zone would develop this year?
Tim. I'm kidding. Actually, one thing that I think would be very beneficial is within Garment Creator 2, which runs the 2270 and the 1070 and the 3370, there's a little tab in there that you can actually do job estimate, calculate exactly what that job is. So you bring an image in, and with all your settings, I wish in there was a little spot with a little time slot. How long is it going to take me to print that shirt with drying time, everything? Just because whenever you're pricing out production, one thing is how long is it going to take me to do that job? Because that's a big deal, especially when you have an employee. So just having that little time, it's going to take you 2 minutes and 17 seconds to print that. So how many can I print an hour? That determines, because hourly wage, I think just would help me beneficial.
Love that. I noticed Tim was taking a note there. Excellent. Okay, Keith, what's one thing you wish Equipment Zone or Epson or any of us, what do you wish would be on your wish list? Something we could develop this year?
This is kind of a tough one. It is. I mean, I have so much equipment, I don't know. So, the maintenance on the EasyJet Pro it's not that difficult. And I don't know if, Epson, you were talking about the F2100 and everything, and that thing, I would rarely have to touch it for maintenance, and so I think maybe some easier ways for maintenance, but okay. I can't really complain about it. Because,
nobody's taking it as a complaint.
It's a wish list. It really is not that difficult to do, and I think it's one of the most important things, because that's one of the biggest things that I always hear is, oh, my machine's doing this, my machine's doing this, and it's just like, but yeah, when's the last time you cleaned it, or what did you do? I think that's one of the reasons my roll-in printer has lasted as long, because I just took care of it. It's not that hard. It's like, if you don't change the oil in your car, what happens?
You sell it to Terry. Okay, so your wish list would be make maintenance easier.
Yes.
Okay, I like that. That's good. Okay, Megan.
I really can't think of anything. Right off the top of my head.
That's fair.
I don't have anything.
Hey, I just want to touch real quick on the maintenance with Epson. Me having the 2270 and the 1070, I spend 3 minutes a week on Fridays. I say, because my girls, we don't say the other brother name, we say sisters. I spend 3 minutes a week on my 2270, and now I have the 1070, and I always, almost 98% of the time, have perfect nozzle checks. And I've not had a bad print head ever.
Knock on something quick, Kim.
Fast. Anyways, guys, 3 minutes, and I have turned my machine off. Well, I have a new grandbaby, go home to Oklahoma for 2 weeks time. I turn my printer off, I come back, and I have a perfect nozzle check. 3 minutes a week.
And I'd be glad to show you what I do over at the booth. But that's it, 3 minutes.
It almost sounds like you're bragging, Kim.
I am, sorry. It's just,
No, I love
it's
it.
amazing.
I'm teasing you. Thank you for sharing that. Let's get to Dan. Dan, is there something there? Is there a...
I'm just glad I got to go last because I don't have anything either. But if we're doing the whole family feud thing, I 100% agree with Kim on, the estimation of time, stuff like that. Because let's face it, the printer itself, it just works. If you take care of it, it works. I had my first tech out after 4 years of owning the machine. And, that works all the time, every time. So if we can, get some more on the software side, kind of estimate the time and stuff like that, I think that would be huge. Because I know when I'm doing my big runs, I will sit there and I'm like, okay, well, this took me this amount of time and kind of give me a good estimate. But it would be so much easier to plan the future jobs out as far as the time goes, because let's face it, time's everything. So.
Love that. Well, speaking of the future, I'm going to throw it back to Tim. Tim, it's prediction time. What can you tell us? What's coming around the corner? What should we know about? What should this audience and everybody that's going to watch this video after the fact, luckily they're here live, so they're going to hear this now, but is there anything that you can share with us? Something new, prediction?
Well, off record, a whole bunch of stuff.
Off the record, a whole bunch of stuff.
There's there's always, if you wait for the next best thing, it's always going to be always out there on the horizon and never something that you can put into service today. But there is always parts that we are looking at with our products and where we see a lot of the industry going is how do we make this more streamlined to make it easier for predicting or planning. So all our printers are cloud connected, so I can get notifications on my watch when the job's done, or if we're doing roll printing, when it needs attention, so I don't have to check on the printer. Things on there is that we're looking at, if you want reporting, where you can see how much efficiency it was, how much ink used you have in there, if you have costing. We're trying to make it where there's more tools and things in here to let you manage the business, not just click print, but to actually understand how the equipment's being used, how much supplies are being used, how your production volume's going. We hear, and I won't go too much longer in this, but we hear sometimes people say, hey, I need more printers to get through this peak season. But on the new systems we have, we can see we're using the printer 18% of the time. Adding another printer is not the bottleneck. What can you do to make that faster? And these are where we're trying to put tools in place. We'd love to sell printers, but at the end of the day, it's really about it's not just putting a box there that's going to collect dust. We really want you to be able to use it, and if you can use it better, that's great. And we're really trying to put a lot more tools in there. We're always bringing out new technologies. We have a bunch of folks that are engineers and chemists who are always working on new chemistries, new ideas. But we also have a partner network, and we like to work on some of the things. And Darren, kind of keep looking over at you with the DTF vacuum platen. It's a simple. I think it looks kind of simple, but it works, and it makes it so much faster and efficient to get stuff done. And it just plops right in. It's one of those ideas when you see it, you're like, that's simple. Why didn't I do that before? And it just works. So there's stuff that Epson makes, but there's also partners that are in the industry that really add in and add value. It's kind of more of a community to make these systems better. But the biggest part is if you want to hear what's going on, I'd like to hear from you what you would like to see. And then that's where we can try to put that in and find out, can we make that happen? So whether it's DTG, UV, signage, resin, latex, there's a zillion different chemistries and print technologies that are out here. What makes the most sense? Just having technology for the sake of it doesn't necessarily help satisfy a customer. If you can help us with that, we always have ideas, and we're showing our entry into DTF.
Do you want to mention that one more time, just so everybody...
Yeah, I'm going to just say that one more time. Our new entry into the new roll-to-roll, we call it DT Film, because we do have a DT Fabric machine, which is a different beast altogether. But we're showing that here. It's a product concept. It's not fully finished yet, but it's functioning, running. We're making samples. But we'd also love to get your feedback so we can put that into that product when it comes out this coming year. So if anybody does have a chance, hit us up in one of the booths and let's get going with it. But certainly any questions and feedback, if there's anything you want to see, we'd like to hear that. Might not be able to make it happen overnight, but that's something where we really want these products to be built for you, so that it really does meet what you need to make your customers happier.
Love that. Thank you, Tim from Epson. Yes, things are coming around the corner. Love what you said, that if you're always waiting for the next greatest thing, it's always going to be on the horizon and you're going to get stuck. Okay, we have about 2 minutes before we have to turn off these mics. I want to thank the panel before, just in case. Let's give them some love now. Let's thank this panel. They were awesome. Woo! Is there anybody in the audience that would love to ask a question now? We have about maybe 2 minutes. If anybody does have one, otherwise we're going to do a little catch and release program, let you get out of here. One quick question.
Thank you. It's a long question, but no, it's a long answer, but make it short. We've been talking a lot about equipment, but tell me about how your shop is successful with the entire workflow from ordering, print to ship. What is your software dependency and workflows? How do you do it? What makes you deliver on time? Very good.
Any software print to ship? Anything got?
I'm actually a little spoiled because there's a lot of people that use different, and they'll use Printavo and use all of these other. My son developed my system, so and it's so I don't have to pay. I don't have a monthly cost, so.
So you're spoiled. You're totally spoiled.
And he lives around the corner from my shop, so I can just say, "Will, get over here because I got this issue or whatever." But I can just tell him what I need. Hey, we're selling Yeti cups now or something. I just need that added in our system so we can pull it up and do everything. So
cool. What about you, Megan? Anything? Any technology there?
We use Printavo, and we also use Chipley for online stores.
Chipley and Printavo.
And so as the orders come in that day, we print the day before the shirts come in. And so that way, when the shirts arrive the next day, we're already ready to press the shirts.
Awesome question, by the way. Thank you. One more before we have to go. The next group is coming in. Anybody? Quick question? All right, that's it. Let's give it up for our team here, the dream team. Woo! Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of your show.